Right, so in this part of the video, I'm going to show you about user interface. I'm just going to show you that I just knocked up a couple of very dull um, health bar sprites. So I've got this one here and this one here. They're going to be the two parts of the health bar, and then we're going to get on with that. So I'm going to export those as PNGs and put them into the assets folder. You can download many online, but I don't want to link any because they're from someone else's video or something. So I thought I'd make mine. I can probably link those, but do you really want them? I don't think so. So I'm sure you can find better on OpenGameArt or somewhere. But there you go. Right, so I'm going to get on with that now, and then I'll see you in a sec. Right, so here they are in my assets folder. I'm actually going to create a UI folder in here and move these sprites in. Just simply because it looks better. Right, so we're going to create an AI. So we need to create user interface canvas, because that's what you put the user interface on. Now, there are three modes here. Screen space overlay will attempt to map the UI over the screen of the camera, but it will adjust for resolutions. It's quite a fiddly, and there's lots of videos on that online. It's a long video if I go through that. World space will literally mean that you place the user interface in the world, and as the camera moves past, you will see it. But screen space is what we want for right now. So then we drag in the main camera, and then it will snap. Now, it's at this point I recommend that you go here and ensure that you're on the resolution you want to run it, or at least the aspect ratio. Okay, so 1920 by 1080. Brilliant. Now the UI is there, the canvas is there, and so I'm going to create an empty called health bar. Okay, now I'm actually going to put the health bar where I want it now. This is a lot easier in a minute when I do stuff. So I'm going to say I want the health bar there, although you don't have to do it this way. But there we go. So that's the health bar. Then I'm going to create a UI image. Then I'm going to select the background. Okay, now right now, at the moment, it's not set to fill that box. Now I could drag it by manual. The reason why it was good to set the box before, and by the way, you set that with T. If you're on something else like this, it's T. You go back here and click this. Now down here, if you hold the Alt key, what it will do, so hold the Alt key, you can stretch it to fill this box here. And this is quite handy because when we add the second image, which I'll do again here with image, and then I'll add in the red one, although you could do this by hand, then I can click that, hold down Alt, it goes like that, click it, and now they're completely on top of each other. Okay, now I want to drag the background, the bit that I want on top. Let me just check which one. I delete that one. Which one? Right, yeah. So that one has to be on the bottom, right? So whatever's on the bottom will appear on top of the one above it. So this is the health bar fill, and this is the health bar background. Okay. So basically, what I want to happen is, as the player takes damage, which I'm going to do by just changing its health, because the enemies don't shoot, or I'll run into an enemy maybe, and I'll take periodic damage. I don't know what I'm going to do. I could make the enemy shoot, but you know, you can do that. So, well, maybe I'll do that in the next video. I'll make the enemy shoot back. I'm going to make the proper Space Invaders movement, so I might as well do the shooting. But anyway, so let's just get the health bar going. So we've got the health bar there. Brilliant. Fantastic. Now, of course, I want a UI controller to control the UI in general. So I'm going to make myself a object called UI controller. And then I'm going to make a script called UI controller, so surprisingly enough. Wait till it's compiled it. And drag that onto there. Okay, now, there we go. So there is actually a really cool thing called a slider that you can add to like this object here, and then it will slide up and down, basically. You can say I want it this percentage, right? So I'm going to put it on the health bar just because it doesn't matter where you put it. You can put it on any object, but I could put it on the fill, since that's what I'm actually editing, but it's already got lots of stuff on there. So I'm going to add the slider to here, okay? All right, so I've added a slider to the health bar root object. And then it's going to want to know the rectangle of the fill. So I drag in the fill. There we go. And then immediately it's disappeared. You're like, what? And that's because now I've got this thing here like this that's going to do that. There we go. So yeah, so that's I think. Also, by the way, you can do color things and stuff like that if you want to do some tints and things like that. But that's a bit of a different video. But yeah, there we go. So left to right, done. Now the problem is at the moment is it's doing it 0 to 1, and I'm going to presume our health will be 0 to 100. So I'm going to do 100, and I'm going to do whole numbers because I'm going to make it integer only. There we go. Brilliant. Fantastic. Anyway, so I'm just going to quickly move on. So now I need to control that. Basically, I need to link this value to our health, right? But we don't have health yet. So rather than put health in player, which is what you might instantly do, I'm not going to do that. Because just on the off chance I want to delete the player object and have it explode. I don't want things to go, what was the health? What was the score? Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is another sort of tool is I'm going to create a script called game. I'll call it level data. Okay. So I create a empty called level data. I'm not sure level data is a great name, but you can call it whatever you want. Put that on there. Okay. Now, obviously, I've got a UI controller now. I've got a level controller. So I need to go to my service locator. And I need to add these in. So if I minimize that, you just really remember, this is not the best now, I can't see what I'm doing. So I need to add in the things. So I'm going to copy that, paste that down. So I need a UI controller. The normal thing is to do UI controller, and I need a level data. And I need level data with a lowercase l. All right, save. So I'll then do this. So if UI controller is null, then get it, basically. And if level data is null, then get that as well. That's just in the off chance that we forget to I'll show you the whole script in a second. Just wanted to see the screen. Okay. I mean, you don't actually need this. Like, you can delete this, but you would just have to remember to drag these in, which you should really. I mean, like, there you go. I mean, like, you do that a lot somewhere else. But the point is, if I don't drag that in, say, and delete it, it'll find it. See? Found it. But I mean, I should still drag it in because, like, you know, why not? Anyway, so now I've got access to them. So level data and UI, they're completely empty, these things right now, but let's put them on there. So let's just delete all this, and we're going to make a public because we want a public variable because otherwise we're not going to access it. I mean, probably I'll do it private, and I'm going to do like, so I know that at the moment, if we go to player, I've got some stuff on player. Where is it? Where's player? Player controller. What have I got on player? Right. Well, I think they're okay to lose because, although saying that, the UI would probably want to show the weapon level. And so I don't want it in the player because if I destroy the player and the UI tries to show the weapon level still, so probably I need to take that out. And a few other things. So I'm just going to remove from here, by the way, any of this damage stuff because I would need to get that from the UI controller. Or I could just change it in a minute. Yeah, I'll just change it. So let's take that out of there. Bullet speed can be the same. Yeah, player speed. Again, you'd probably have some sort of modifier, but that's not the modifier. That'd be like a base speed. And then the modifier would come here. So let's go to level data and we'll stick in weapon level. Okay, and then we're going to do a private in score and a private in health. Now, I know that you're thinking these should be public, but trying to show you it properly, probably I should use a property for these because that's the thing to do. And then I could create some sort of, not do it as a, oh, it's the other way around, isn't it? They always do it. I always get this wrong. Do it as lowercase and then health, and it will make them uppercase. That's what it does. when you do the property. Yeah, there you go. That's what people seem to do, the general. So now, I mean, realistically, I'm not doing anything important here because I'm not actually editing these set and get functions, but methods, sorry, but I could, and maybe I will. Like here, for example, I could say cap it at 5, you know, so set it to the min. So if I've got a max, I could do like min of that, comma 5, comma that. So like if they try to, you know, and then or you know whatever, and set it to 0, check it, or do range, so clamp between 0 and 4 or whatever it's going to be. So you know if they try and change the weapon level to outside of my 0 to 4, which would be 1 to 5 in the game, but of course you would store it as 0 to 4. Then yeah, but whatever. So I've added it all in here. Now obviously my player controller is now going to whinge about not knowing what this is, so I'm going to have to do service locator dot instance. Now, you don't have to have this in your game anyway, but I'm just going to show you what I would do. Dot level data dot weapon level. Right. Boom. I think that's all the moaning it's going to do. Yes. So anyway, I've just done that because you wouldn't want that in there. You want it all in your level data. Right. So now I've got the weapon, the score, and the health. Brilliant. All in here. Okay. And I've got access to them here. So when the enemies die, they're going to update. Each enemy really should have some sort of like score value, which I'll put in here. And then when they die, they're going to update that. So let's go serializable field, private score value, and then we'll set it to 20 by default. Okay, so default score value. And then when they die, another reason to have a method called here, we're just going to steal that code I wrote because it's quite a lot. We're going to add to score plus equals score value. Like that. So when they die, it's going to add to the score value on the level data. Right? Did I do score with a capital S? I would have moaned if I didn't. Yeah, I did. Right, so anyway, so when I die, when a enemy dies, it's going to add its own score value to the thing. And then obviously when you create different prefabs, different enemies, you can set different score values, you know, whatever. And, you know, there you go. So we've got that. Now we need to display it in the UI. So let's do the health. Okay, so we're going to set the player health to 100. So in level data, we'll start it at 100. Don't know why I started it at 0. Score, and that will be 0. Although probably already by the time we get back in here, it's going to have been yeah. So we've got 100. Okay. Now we need to link that and that. So we're going to do that with this UI controller. So we need access to that slider, don't we? So we need to do a serializable field called a slider. Not slider joint 2D. I hate when it does that. Now it's doing that because I haven't got. If I do quick factor, I need the using Unity Engine UI. It normally adds that on its own. Well then, add it. Yeah. Anyway, and I'll call it slider. I'll call it a health slider actually, because in case I've got more than something else later. And I'll put health slider dot value is equal to, and then again that big service locator dot level data dot health. Okay, so now this UI controller is going to continuously update the slider. So let's do that now. But we've got to drag the slider in, which is on health bar. Okay, now if we run the game and we mess with the level data here, you dared, you minus numbers. Obviously, we should not allow this. We should have in our set, we should not allow 0 and or more numbers. And we could do that very briefly. Where is our level data? So we could do the setting of health. Health is equal to math f.clamp. Well, that's an integer, isn't it? So just math.clamp. Is that going to clamp a floating point number though? I'll have to look in a second what version that is. So 0. So clamp value to 0,100. Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. There we go. Right. So now we can't allow anything above. So it's clamping the value. It's going to set health equal to the clamp of the value of 0,100. So theoretically, we shouldn't be able to go over it. I don't know how to work in this editor. It might mean when I let go. Yeah, because I'm not setting it. I think that's not going to work like here. I'm not sure when this affects the set. I'm not like here because we're not affecting the variable like that. I don't know how that works. But if we, for example, go back to here and in the player controller, we add a key down. Let's just do it here. On key down. Let's add 10 health. So it's okay to dot instance, dot level data, dot health plus equals 20. Can I convert int to key code? Yeah, that's stupid. What am I doing? Key code dot L. There we go. So when I press the L key down, it's going to add 20 health if you've not got that. So let's do a quick test and run it. It's going to be a really long video at this instance. Where was Unity gone? Nope. Yep. Now hopefully it won't let me go over it. Right, so let's put that down to 20 and then add. Yeah, you see, basically the slider doesn't follow. Yeah, it doesn't do the rules. So you can mess things up in the editor. That's quite annoying, actually. It doesn't run the set and get here. It just overrides it. Great. If I press L, it should then. Yeah, there you go. It goes back because now we're doing a set and get. But obviously, you wouldn't use this in the real game anyway. So it's not relevant. But anyway, so we have got a health bar working. If a health went down, like if we touched an enemy, it would go down and it would be fine. Brilliant. So that's how you do a health bar. Okay. Fantastic. So you can also change the color of the sprite as well. Like you could do a few other things. It's why essentially it might have been better to have done a white image and then we tinted it red. In fact, shall I show that? Yes. What I'll do very quickly is I will export this as white. I'll do this really quick. And there's a reason why I want to export it white. So let's export it over the top of the UI one. It's going to go completely white. Boom. Go back here and go white. Right, now we go here and it's white. It should still work as normal, just with a white health bar. Fantastic. Black outline. You can sort of see it. Not really the greatest outline idea. Black, but you get the gist. Right, and now, not with that one. We go there and we change that to red. Should go red. Right, now we can have a start color and an end color. So we can start it green, for example, and end it red. So what I would then do is go to the health bar bit in here. And I would do a serializable field of color, health max color, and then of course health min color, and then of course we need access to the image. So then we would do image. And just to be clear, this is all getting a bit complicated for the UI controller now. So what I would normally have is a health bar script that the UI controller talks to, sends in the current value. But anyway, this is fine. You should be all be able to work out all these things now. So how do I do image? So I want HB image, and then we would need to update HB image dot color. Now, how do I get a blend between the two? So, right, so I took a couple of minutes and I sorted it. I actually did have it right. I just did this bit wrong. Yeah, so what I'm doing here is I'm getting the minimum amount, which is the maximum health minus the current health divided by 100. Essentially, what you got to look at is what percent should be minimum color add and what percent should max add. So if the value of our health is full, 100 minus 100 divided by 100 is 0. So there'd be no amount of min amount. And health slider would be 100 divided by 100 is 1. So we have a fraction percentage, a decimal percentage, sorry, of max amount. So that would be times 0, that would be times 1. So we had an all health max account. If it was 50 health, we'd have 100 minus 50 divided by 100, which is 0.5. 50 divided by 100, 0.5. And then we'd take 50% of each, and so on and so forth. So it ends up looking like this, and does work perfectly. I'll go down to 0, and then I'll work up because it looks cooler. So as I go up, the color changes to green. As I slide down, it goes to red and to green. That's something you could add to your health bars, okay? So, right, let's move on quickly because it's taking ages. Let's do score. So I'm now going to very quickly add to my canvas a UI, and I'm going to use TextMesh Pro Text. When you add this, it's going to say you need to import stuff because this is an add-on. So I'm going to import it. It won't take long on my computer, and it's been imported. Right, so we don't need to import the examples and the extras. We don't need that. So I've added that in. I'm going to rename it score text because it's always good to name things, okay? And then I'm going to move it to where I want the score. And I'm going to write a fake score in. Always a little good tip. So I'm going to put 1260. Because then you get a rough idea of what it's going to look like in the game. Obviously, that's not very big, so I'm going to make the font. You can auto size, by the way, and then it will improve it. Although apparently this does affect performance of the actual thing. I often auto size it, and then once I've figured out the size, then I type in the size. But there you go. So there's my score. I'm not going to talk about fonts and other stuff in this video because it's quite annoying actually. And there's many videos online that you can find out about that. But there's my score text. I'm going to leave it white, okay, because it looks good in my background. I've accidentally changed that to W somehow. So on the UI controller, I'm going to obviously then need to do the score. So this is the bit I always get this wrong. Text. It's TextMesh Pro Text. Yeah, I think it's that. TM Pro, TextMesh Pro, UI Text, UI Score. That's not that. It's just that, I think. And then you need to use TM Pro. I'm pretty sure it's that. I always get this wrong. We'll find out in a minute. So, obviously, I'm going to refactor that. Right-click, refactor, and then do extract method, and then do health bar. Okay, so another reason why it's not so bad to have that in here. You're like, oh, it's a bit messy, but yeah, but I'm going to refactor it out, and then it's just going to say health bar. And then I'm going to do UI score text dot text equals. Now we need the service locator score instance stuff. I've got that somewhere to copy. Super. Right, so the level data dot score, but I need a dot to string because I'm going to add a string at the start because I'm going to put score colon space and then add them together. So obviously that is that, and that is basically it, right? And then obviously we go back to the game. The UI controller needs the TextMesh Pro thing dragged in. Now that is why I knew that was going to happen. But that is not what that is. I can never remember. What is that then? It is not that one. I'm going to have to look this up very quickly. It's not a TextMesh Pro. I always do this. It is. So I'm going to Google it. If in doubt, look it up. I do this every time. And every time people online do the exact same thing. And people are like, no, it's not the right thing. It's something else. I'm sure it's TMP text. Yes, it's that. There we go. I did look that up. In fact, I can tell you because that is not showing me the answer. This is not showing me. Oh, no, they're doing some weird thing. So, and the reason, by the way, that happened is they used to have a slightly different version of the TextMesh one. One of them is the 3D one that actually sits in the game, like actually like a 3D object sort of thing that you can look around. And one of them is like a UI text, and I get them always confused. So it should be that one now. Yes, there we go. So if we go back, just check. It's the TMP text, not the other one. Okay. There you go. You think it'd be the called TextMesh Pro Text, but it's not. Right, there we go. So we go back and we do this, and now score is 0. Brilliant. So we've already done that, smashed it. If we go to our level data and change score, you can see this works. There we go. Now, obviously, I then need to add score when the enemies die. I did that, I think, actually, earlier on. So if I shoot now, the enemies will die. And I'm very quickly going to do the last thing, which is live. Forgot about those sound effects, I'll be honest with you. Maybe jump a little bit. So now we need to add the lives. Now, probably I'll put score up there actually, and then lower my enemies somewhat. I feel like I'm missing an enemy. Right, there we go. W, lower them down. And then I have lives, and I'll put the lives up there. Now, I'm going to use hearts for the lives because that's standard. So I'm just going to have 3 hearts for 3 lives. Actually, you know what? I can't bother to find a sprite. I'm going to use a little version of myself, a little version of the ship in the corner. That's a great one. Brilliant. So create an empty. I'm going to whip through this. I'm going to call it lives. And then I'm going to create 3 UI sprites. I'm going to create UI images. And I'm going to put it up there. fact, I'll move, sorry, this lives object up there using T. Sorry, always use T. Always use. Grab it. I'm going to have to zoom in because there we go. Resize it because this is the box that this object's going to sit in. Yeah, so this empty is the box that these lives are going to sit in. So I'm going to drag the image in there. I'm going to resize it, and I'm going to move it there. And then I'm going to do lives 1. I'm going to duplicate it for lives 2, lives 3. I'm going to do this very quickly. I'm going to move it across. This one across. Look at it. Yeah, not perfect. I could. There is actually a way to spread it evenly, but I can't remember how to do it. I think you have to go like that, and then isn't it? There is a way to evenly spread them out, but I don't know. So I'm just going to do it by X. -124. We'll do it -125. And then -25. So we've got 100. Then 75. And now they're dead even. And the height, I'm going to assume, is the same because I copied and pasted it. Yeah. Right, so now we've got 3 sprites as the lives. Okay, and then we're just going to have to link them up to the UI controller here. So we go back there, we make 3 images. I'm going to actually use an array because it means less, yeah, it's UI. Actually, I could do it as a game object. No, I'll do it as, yeah, I could do it. There's 2 ways to do it. By the way, there's 2 ways to do it. I can disable this here, or I can disable the image here. I will do the image. It's probably less hassle. So we'll do image. We'll do that, and we'll do lives. Okay. Then I will save it. Go back. Go to the UI controller. This is taking forever. Add my 3 lives. Now it's important that lives 1 goes into. Actually, is lives 1 the left one? Let's make sure. Yeah. UI controller lives 2. Also, if I do it this way, I could do something cooler. Actually, yeah, I will do it by image because I could do what? I'll make it black and white. So, or a very dimmed version of your old lives. It's up to you. So there we've got 3 lives. There we go. We go back to the UI controller script, and then we've got to update the lives. So we go switch, which is a good way of doing if. Actually, I could do an if. Actually, it would make sense because we've only got to enable or disable each one. Yeah. So if. I got it still? No. Service locator dot instance dot level data dot lives greater than or equal to 2. So that means they're all alive. Have I got lives? Didn't have lives. WI. There we go. Got lives. Greater equals 2. Then lives 0 dot enabled equals. No, actually not live 0 because this is number 2. So this would be lives 2 because this is that's actually the 3rd life. Okay. So if our lives, and what am I doing? I'm being dumb here. So lives should start at 3. So if lives is greater than or equal to 3, then we need to set 2, which is life 3, enabled to true. Okay. Else, set it false. And then we just do the same twice more. If it's greater than or equal to 2, we set 1 to on. And if it's greater than or equal to 1, we set that one on. Why is it I thought I put a colon. What a noob. I'm Python. Oh, that's a sad state of affairs when I'm using Python. Right. Anyway, let's save all the stuff and then that'll work when we change the lives. I'll do it quick as possible because this video is going on. So where's the level data? Let's set the lives to 1, 2, 3, 0, obviously 5. It will still show 3. If you want to have the ability to have more, you could probably want to put loads of them in. You could generate them, but you know, oh, do you really want to do that? I'd probably cap it at like 5 lives, and then whatever. Or after 3 lives, you get more. The only other thing I was going to say you could do, and I'm not going to really quickly and do it, is there is the color. Okay, so you could do, and bear in mind the color is white, just to be clear. So color dot white. I know the image isn't, and then if not, you could change the color to grey, or you could change the alpha, but yeah, like this. So now I've just done it on the top one. It will just go. It won't disappear. It will change to a grey version of, which you might want, like that. It's not very grey, is it? But that it is. You'd have to look and see what happens when you change it here. Compare it to grey. Yeah, it's not really going very grey, is it? I mean, you could do whatever, or you could do the alpha very low, whatever. I mean, that one's actually pretty good. That looks pretty deady, but I don't know. It's up to you. Probably just to turn them off would be the most obvious. Is what I would do. Right, so I'm going to leave it there because it's the longest video and I don't want to do any more. I can't think of any more UI right now this second we want to do. Obviously, it's buttons and other things, but I'm going to leave that for another video. Right, as I thought at the end of the video, just quickly, I realised that a lot of you would probably prefer it if the health did this rather than that weird shrinking. And I thought, oh yeah, I should probably have shown that. So I'm very quickly going to show you now. It's actually really easy. It's just clicking 2 things. You just need to go to the fill image in the thing, and so let me actually undo that because it'll be simple. The image type of the thing here, you change it to filled, okay, and then it will probably be like radial 360, which you don't want because that'll do like a rotationary one, which will look kind of weird but we could do it like that. I don't know why they default to that because that seems like the least likely one for me. But anyway, and we changed that from horizontal fill origin left, and that means it will start filling from the left. So yeah, and then it will just do the exact same thing. But it will work as I showed you, sliding like that. And I'm assuming more people want that, so I should have said that really. But there you go. That's all you do.